Today's a big day. I've been trying for a long time to get my better half on the Hayden, Alabama podcast. It was actually easier to get her to marry me than to do this podcast. That's true. Turn around and let them know how excited you are about what we're fixing to do.
I'm stoked. Not really, I'm really nervous. This is not my forte, so.
But you're going to do great.
I'm going to try my best.
You look good.
Thanks. Oh, it makes my armpits sweat.
We're loaded up. We've picked up our other guests. It's time. We don't know.
I got a lot to say.
We don't know what's fixing to happen
I got
for real.
so much to say.
Unsurprised.
The question I have going into this as we make the long trip to the Shedio is, will our marriages be forged
Yes.
or fragilized? Let's see what happens. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Hayden, Alabama podcast where we're Southern storytellers. I'm Philip.
I'm Shane.
I'm Bethany.
And I'm Sarah.
The wives have taken over.
By request.
Yeah, much request on that.
But not our request.
Absolutely not.
We're going to
I'm
get to that in a minute.
petrified and sweating.
It's going to be okay, though.
We're going to get to that.
Deep breaths.
This is the second time we've been infiltrated in as many months.
Mm-hmm.
We got the Canadian infiltration, and
Yep.
now the wives have infiltrated. I feel like we're losing control of the
We
show.
are losing control of the show, but we will maintain. Don't worry.
Yeah.
We're going to maintain control.
This has been a long time arriving.
I was absolutely shocked when you called me this afternoon and said, I got a guest.
Well, I went to ChatGPT and I said, I need to develop a great argument to convince my wife to be on my podcast. And I just memorized it. And when we were taking a trip this morning, I put it on her and she was like, yeah, I think so.
I really just got tired of him asking. He just wore me down.
What was the argument?
I basically said, we have a number of female listeners and we just hired an editor, a video editor, who is female.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked her, I said, what about, I said, this last one, it'll be episode 119 that she edited. I said, tell me what you liked and what you didn't like. And she talked about, you know, what she was really enjoyed editing was the common stories that are common to everybody.
Mm.
She said, when y'all got to talking about coon hunting, you know, I really don't know much about that, so I didn't know. So it was a combination of those two things that I really wanted to give something back that not only our male audience would enjoy, but the female audience would enjoy.
Okay. And here we are.
So here we are. We're just going to tell some stories about our wonderful lives together.
Why do you laugh like that?
That's just how he laughs.
Why do I laugh like that? Because it seemed a bit excessive.
But it's not going to be just about us, because all of these stories, men, if you're listening out there, you can save yourself some trouble.
Yeah.
By some of the lessons that you're going to learn in these stories.
So not necessarily our wonderful lives, just our real lives.
Real lives. Yeah. This is just real marriage for some country folks.
Southern storytelling.
Southern storytelling. Well, let's get to it. You want to lead off? One of y'all want to lead off? I think that would be only fair.
Oh.
No?
But like, what's our category? Like, what are we?
Tell me a story.
Yeah, what is if you were to lean back, if you were to really think back, and you're going to tell one story about your marriage, my wife's grinning, and I'm not sure what that means. But if you're going to tell the story, I'm going to sum it up. I'm going to tell you this story, and this one has to be told. What would you tell?
Because I'm loaded for bear. I got about 4.
You said you woke
Are
up from
you
a nap
for
this
real?
afternoon, and it just spoke to you.
Just like that.
Wow, you have a story.
Well, I mean, you've met Shane. I have stories.
Tell us one. Should I have said that differently? Should I? Did I misspeak?
I think you were too direct.
Was that too direct?
I'm not that
Tell
direct.
us one
I
now.
I was just trying to be a clear communicator.
Oh,
It's something I work on regularly.
No, you got to mansplain it. See, that's what you're supposed to do.
When you're totally comfortable and ready, if you would like to begin sharing a sweet moment from your life,
Oh,
you can.
They have to be
Oh.
sweet.
No.
Hold on a minute. Now.
Oh, no, it doesn't have to be sweet. Okay.
Hang on. Y'all are loaded. You said you're ready to go, so why don't you tell a story
That introduces.
where
Oh, introduces y'all, huh?
what direction we're going?
Oftentimes when you're dating, you want to do something to set a standard. You want to let them know that you're the one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Beth and I have been dating for a little while. She has a brother. He's been on the show. And at that time, they were big into bow fishing. It was something they did all the time. And he had a little, when I say little, I mean, this is a small aluminum boat, probably 14 foot. And he had rigged up some lights on it. And we were going to go bow fishing that night. I drove up to Hartselle for that afternoon. So
it
we
was
get
actually
there.
my birthday. That's why you drove up.
Oh, I thought I drove
was-
up to go bow hunting, bow fishing, but clearly the main reason I drove up there was to go for her birthday.
The worst birthday of my life. One of them. What?
Oh, no.
Well, I'm glad I was there to be part of that. Well, after the awesome birthday party, we were going to do some bow fishing, and we looked at the weather, which is something that you and I never do.
Mm-hmm.
But they had looked at the weather and they said, man, it don't look good. We got a storm coming in. I looked at it, I said, man, I ain't worried about a storm. Let's go bow fishing. Finally convinced them, and they're more cautious. This family has a lot of caution. I don't have any caution. We load up, we go.
To the wind.
We drop off in the creek and start. And we don't get 3 minutes into that boat ride, and I'm talking about the bottom drops out. Lightning, thunder, the whole thing. And her brother's like, we need to turn around. I said, we're not turning around. This thing's going to blow over in just a minute. Let's get in there and get to our spot. He keeps driving. And finally, it gets so bad that you can't see. Like, that's how bad it is. Bethany is petrified. She is ready for admission into a mental home, like anxiety, paralysis, the whole thing. She's just crying.
Mm-hmm.
I said, well, turn it around. I guess we're going to ruin the trip. Turn it around. We've already had a birthday. So he turns the boat around in that little creek. And now let me talk about the body of water. I forgot to share this. This creek is probably 6 foot deep to 10 foot deep. But the difference is from bank to bank is maybe 15 yards, 10 yards. It's narrow. Trees all in it, stumps and everything. So he turns that thing around and he's going. He said, man, I can't see. I said, no problem. I will climb up on the front of the boat and I will tell you right, left, anything coming. So I'm up there on the front of the boat. Like
Bulldogging it.
Captain Jack, a bulldog, like a pit bull.
John
up
Smith.
there. I'm ready.
Mm-hmm.
And just right, left, right, slow down, go, go, go. And we make it all the way out. For you and I, this is another night. That's just what we would have done. And we would have laughed and it would have been a story we could have told. She has PTSD from this night. We never got to fling an arrow. We never got to do anything besides have an awesome adventure up that creek. And to this day, I could never talk her into getting in another bow fishing boat.
She won't go back.
No.
It was not the rain. It was not the trees. It was the alligators that you could see under the water, poised and ready for me.
For Bethany.
Yeah,
Birthday
absolutely.
dinner.
It was full of birthday cake, and that one right there is going to be sweet when we get a hold to her.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I'm out.
It was,
You're afraid of alligators.
It's an immediate no.
who's not?
This man is not, and he was at the helm.
I was there to protect you. I was letting her know this is a protector right here.
She didn't get that. But what she did get is that you did not come up there for her birthday.
Clearly. Clearly. I thought I was just going to hang out with him for my birthday, and that meant hanging out in the boat with him and my brother.
Celebrate
Adventures.
me,
and the
my
alligators.
birthday.
That's right.
But I tell you what, let me ask you this question. Will you ever forget that birthday?
No.
Boom.
Memorable.
You're welcome.
Memorable.
No problem.
I took Sarah on a boat ride.
You are a boatman.
I haven't been on to drive
The
one.
USS Mobile.
Yeah, I've been in a few, and so I was similar. We were dating. Well, maybe we were married. We had been married not very long, and we wanted to go float the river.
That's a good boat ride.
That is a fine boat ride. Now, let me tell you though about my wife's experience.
We were not married.
We weren't married.
No.
I mean,
Seems as
things
though
are fuzzy.
our memories are
It's fuzzy. It gets
starting
fuzzy.
to fade a little bit.
My memory is
It's like a steel
exceptional.
trap.
It is like a steel trap.
It's a curse.
Well, Sarah, not experienced as I was. Again, I'd had experience on the USS Alabama and done a little bit of work there. Bethany doesn't know about that.
It's because you don't watch the show.
If she did, she would know.
She's like, I hear you talk all the time. The last thing we do is turn on the TV and hear you talk some more. I've heard your stories a million times.
And all they do is make me angry because it makes me remember that you forgot my birthday.
You're a jackwagon. Okay.
And we went down here to the Big Rock. We put in, and the first thing in the Big Rock though is you've got to navigate the shoals immediately. And I tell Sarah, my lovely young date, we're not future bride, did not know at the time, but
We were definitely engaged.
we were engaged. So I did know. This is just details.
I'm not even worried about it. I'm ready to get to the shoals.
Try to get through the shoals, okay? Let me finish the story and then you can correct it.
Okay.
Is that be fine?
That's probably better.
You definitely knew you were going to marry her because you had talked about this before we even let Philip know that y'all were dating.
So we were getting married before.
I mean,
That's a whole nother story.
One story at a time.
Okay.
We're getting ahead of ourselves.
Okay.
We're going down the shoals. I have her in the front of the boat, middle of the boat. Where were you in the boat? You want to tell the story because I don't remember it apparently.
No,
This is going poorly.
I'm just here.
It's not going how it's supposed to.
You just continue.
Where were you in the
Just
boat?
tell the story, and if it's wrong, she'll correct it.
She will definitely.
She's giving the prompts over here.
Why are
She's
you
correcting it
She's
with her
giving the
face.
sign.
I was not in the front
Where were
of
you?
the boat.
You just can't look at her. Look at me and tell the
Okay,
story.
I'm sorry.
I was behind you. So you were either in the front or the middle.
I was doing it. You know what I was? I was at the helm, just as
I
you
know
were.
you're
Jack
the
Sparrow.
captain.
I was the captain, and I am navigating the shoals, and we're picking up speed. And I'm happy. I mean, I'm in my element.
Yeah,
Going down the river,
captain.
captain, got this fine lady in the back. Where else could you possibly want to be as a 26-year-old man?
Can't think about it.
Couldn't think of a better place. I look ahead. I see an obstacle. It is a large rock, and we are carrying a lot of momentum. The aluminum boat, all the fishing gear, myself, my future bride. And I didn't really want to yell or be aggressive here to tell her to brace for impact, but I probably should.
Yeah, because he centered it.
I probably should have said brace for impact. Brace for impact. I didn't. I was still holding out hope I could
Last minute.
that
juke.
last minute juke.
Yeah.
18 foot, or I'm sorry,
Ooh.
18 foot, whatever, how long it was a 12 foot, maybe it's 10 foot. 10 foot flat bottoms. They don't juke.
No, they do not.
There's no juking. We finnered the rock. And when I did, everything went from, it's some sort of physics law. I'm not sure, but there is a physics law. I think it is everything that's in motion wants to remain in motion. And I don't remember what Newton's law that is. However, I proved it that day. My wife's knees continued motion as the boat came to an abrupt halt and buried themselves into that second row seat.
It's my shins.
And they just creased.
Oh, Sarah.
And I still married him. There were no alligators.
There were no alligators. And she, just broke down.
She's crying.
Squalling immediately. And I know that had to hurt. If you've ever...
Yeah.
Did you laugh?
Did I laugh? I don't want to answer that.
I mean, probably. Well, we weren't married yet, so probably not. It wasn't until the snowball that
We
you
don't
started
talk about
laughing.
that. We've already told that story. We talk about this.
You took some time to get your credibility back after that one.
That crease, the reminder of that incident, that boat wreck, second boat wreck that I had. I should have known from the first one that
Well, the other was saying this is
It was
wrong.
not a sandbar. No, it was a rock.
creased their knee.
Did you ever? Here's the question: did you ever go back down the river with him, or was that a like Bethany one and done?
We've never been back.
That was it.
Well, that's not true. Not in a flat bottom aluminum boat.
I gotta go. I gotta go.
What do you want to make any commentary on that before he?
Yeah, did I tell it wrong?
I'm not wrong.
Is there anything that you forgot? Anything that you left
Any
out?
important-
Do you want to talk about your emotional damage? Anything like that?
Oh no. I mean, I was.
How proud of you were you? How proud of you were you of me up until the point?
What just happened?
How proud was
How
I
proud of me
you?
were you?
Oh,
Yeah, that's what I should have asked. Sorry, Bethany.
I feel
I'm
like
sorry.
you went the long way around there.
We didn't know it. The grammar police. In
Yeah,
here.
well, we do. Just be aware.
I mean,
How proud was I of you?
As a captain.
slamming
As
the
the
boat
captain,
into
right.
the boulder.
Yeah, for
10 out of
wrecking
10.
the boat. Yeah, it was a great time. I mean, I
I was up there. I was really doing well, though. Like, up until the
Oh,
point
up
I
until
wrecked
that
you.
point.
Yeah. I mean, were you like, that's my man.
Yeah, it was fun till then.
That's my man.
Hey, future husband.
Yeah, it was a grand old time until you broke my shins in half. Not just one, but both of them.
I've never told this story. And I don't know that we've ever talked about it after.
Premiere.
Yes, we have.
Oh, she already knows.
No, I don't think she remembers. She probably does remember.
We'll find out. Let's
We
go.
had a wonderful day planned with some friends kayaking down the Terrapin Creek in Center, Alabama. Again, I had experienced kayaking numerous times. Why would I even imagine no one had ever been on a kayak? On the way to get the kayaks, we rented the kayaks. My wife proceeds to tell me, I've never kayaked before. It's not a problem.
We were not married.
We weren't married at this time either?
No.
Man, I don't know how I got through this. I thought everybody knew how to operate a kayak. On the way, she proceeds to tell me she does not. I don't know how to kayak. I said, simple. You sit in there, you got to paddle, and you just steer it. You want to go left, you steer on the right. You want to go right, you steer on the left.
I think it's
Super
important
simple.
for people before you go here. I think it's important for people to understand that the only coping mechanism that I have is fear.
She's fight or flight. She's flying. She gone.
Okay.
Yes, my fight or flight leans heavily towards flight,
She's not
confrontation, danger,
You're running.
immediate opposite direction.
Okay.
Yes.
I am a little bit of the opposite. We get there, and we're around a lot of friends. There's probably 10 or 12 other people that are there. Probably Sarah's second time maybe meeting most of them. First for
Some of
the
them.
rest of them.
Mhm.
But I had known all of them for a while. We get in the kayaks, and I say, hey, you pick yours out, which one you want. There's a 2-man kayak, and I was like, we're not going to do that.
He was uninterested in that option.
We're not going to do 2-man. You're going to be fine. I'm right here with you. I'm right
The
beside
captain.
you. The captain. I'm your man.
Oh, there was a storm this day too.
That was later. There was a storm. There was a storm. We put in, and she's kind of a little rickety. She's
no.
She-
We did not put in. He put me in. I'm the only one in the river, and he pushes me off.
Wait. We were getting ahead of ourselves.
No, that's what happened, and the point you're trying to make comes immediately after when I'm the only one going downstream.
You're ruining the story here. You're ruining the story. Okay? She's a little rickety. And I'm like, hey, it's fine. I'm comforting her. I love you. It's fine. It's good.
Yeah.
Why are you looking at me like that, Bethany?
Who's little Ricky?
Rickety, not little Ricky. Rickety. Bethany.
He's the guy that was renting the kayaks.
It was little Ricky's kayak.
Oh, little Ricky kayak rental.
We may have just got our new T-shirt. Little Ricky's
Little
kayak.
Hey, you know a good place that I could go rent some kayaks? Oh, buddy. If you ain't been down to Little Ricky's, you ain't been.
I'm trying to figure out who little Ricky is.
Oh,
He's a rapper and a kayak renter.
oh man.
You heard that new song by Little Ricky?
I can't. I can't. I just pinched a nerve or something. Oh gosh.
Shane out.
Oh. Okay. Gather composure.
Sarah's in a solo,
Sarah's
just
in a
pushed
solo.
off and being constantly comforted by the captain
By
from
the
the bank.
captain from the bank.
All right.
The water is traveling at a moderate pace, which when you're kayaking, you're wanting it to carry you down the
There
river
you go.
without having to paddle. Sarah is steadily gathering distance from me. And it's becoming a little faster and a little faster. And I see panic begin to set in. She has already in her mind made it. Died. She's made it around the bend to Lock 7, and she's in the Gulf of Mexico in her mind. She's
Just around the river bend.
yes,
Yeah.
on the way out. I'm still comforted. It's fine. You're okay. Just paddle.
But at this point, you're going, you're fine.
Yes,
You're
and this
okay."
time I have had to elevate my
Yeah.
just as she stated, her fear takes over, and the words roll out of her mouth.
God.
I hate you.
Oh, wow. It's strong.
And he did that right there.
He laughed.
Of course he did.
Why would he not?
Oh, and I was hurt. I've not told her how hurt I was. Extremely hurt.
Heartbroken.
I was.
Yeah, devastated.
I was. But you know what I did? I gathered myself and I said, she doesn't mean that right now.
Mm-mm.
She's just
It's the
scared.
fear speaking.
She's scared. I gathered myself. I got in my little kayak and I paddled over to her and I tied her to mine. And I said, honey, it's going to be okay. I got you.
I'm not sure why we didn't start there.
Or getting a double kayak.
First and last time my wife has ever told me she hated me
That's true.
at Little Ricky's
But I
kayak.
was
That's right.
We do some interventions here on the Hayden Alabama podcast. Sarah, would you like to formally apologize to Shane for saying that day?
Absolutely.
It would heal some things.
I feel like you're assuming that has not already been taken care of.
I don't, if you've apologized for that, it went over my head.
We'll hear it now.
Right after I hear the apology about
Uh-oh.
the snowball,
They opened up something.
because we were married then.
Okay, well, I'm done.
That was it?
That's it. I've got no more.
Are you in trouble? Well, we hope you're not. But just in case you are, we know a good lawyer. Whitney Island here in Hayden, Alabama has law services. Or maybe if you're not from Hayden, I'm sure she'd be happy to hear from you. So check her out at islandlaw.com. We appreciate Whitney and her sponsoring the show.
So my husband never goes to the store to buy a card. He always hand makes the cards because he thinks they're more special. And I feel like used to, I would get a little agitated, but now it's kind of become like a thing. Like I look forward to the card. Except for this one year. It was our 15-year anniversary. And it was around pandemic time, somewhere around in there. So he gives me this card. And on the front of it, it has this map of the Mediterranean Sea, Italy. I can't even remember what's on it. It's like, for our 15-year anniversary, I'm going to take you on a 15-day tour of the Mediterranean. Y'all, I'm stoked. Like, stoked. So then I read on.
Oh, there's more.
But wait, there's more. Due to traveling restrictions, however, I guess we're not going to be able to do this. Maybe at our 30-year mark, we'll get to do this. I squalled. Like, I was broken. I was so excited. We were actually going somewhere. We haven't been anywhere since our 1-year anniversary. Mm-hmm. I put up with him for 15 years. and this is
He's
the
got
cards.
jokes.
Oh, y'all, I've never been more mad at you than that moment, I think.
I must have put that away. I don't even remember getting mad about it.
Now look, I need to see it though.
She probably kept it.
I need to know. Do you have it? Did he hand draw this? Stop. Did he hand draw this?
I keep this. Listen, here's the thing. I keep this in my nightstand. So that when things are going great, I can remember.
Show it to the camera. Show it to the camera.
What does that say on the bottom?
He wrote something in Greek.
I wrote it in Greek.
Yeah, because we're going places, right?
We have 2 tickets to celebrate our 15 years with 15 days in the Mediterranean. Unfortunately, I was forced to cancel the trip and get a refund.
You did
because of
the pandemic.
The obvious.
Hopefully, the pandemic will have gone away by our 30th.
Your
loving husband.
Yes.
God, Philip.
Look,
There
sometimes
it is,
my humor is very unique to me.
When Bethany opened with our 15, I said, nope. I know where this is going, but I don't think anyone else could see that coming. But I knew immediately what Philip Brimmerman had done in that card. I've never seen it, and I've never heard the story, but I knew immediately.
Sometimes ideas are good in your head.
What say ye, Phil?
What say me? Man, I feel like I've always been a tolerant husband.
Tolerant or tolerable?
Another story?
Wow.
We're just going to pass. We're going to breeze past that one.
He's got nothing to say.
I mean, if you, all I can say
No,
is,
I've got to know. I have got to know where that came. Like
He
what?
thought it was a good idea.
No, he did not. There's
Absolutely,
no way.
100%.
Shane is over there acting
I thought it would be funny.
real shocked. Shane's acting real shocked. Like we weren't on the eve of our 10-year anniversary, and he's like, we were going to go to Australia, but there's a pandemic, and you're like 8 months pregnant, so I guess we'll go some other time. I didn't even get a card.
You did the same thing.
I didn't do a card.
What's the difference?
I
mean,
There's
you
no
put
proof.
You want to put your rocks
I
down?
don't have proof. Yeah, she could have made.
You
want
to put your rocks down, or you want to pick them back up?
We are in glass houses. I'm sorry. I am on your side. I do think that you had very good intentions.
Well, if you want to close it up, we'll close it up
Please.
this way. Men, if you like to create your own cards, be careful about the humor that you're going to use. If it raises hopes artificially, you may want to reconsider your card.
That's a great way to close it out. Would you agree with that, Bethany?
I mean, sure, whatever. I'm still waiting on my trip. I mean, I know we're not at year 30.
The possibility is still there. You did leave the door open.
I've got, what are we going to celebrate this year? 19? I got 11 years.
11 years to make this happen.
Hey, and if y'all want to help, like and subscribe. I mean, if you're
starting to fund me for my
if you really want to do something,
because that's the only way I'm getting there.
Or maybe we've got some followers in the Mediterranean that maybe can.
Yeah, would love to hear
up.
from you.
Yep.
And also, let's just take this time. If you'd also like to help get this 15-day trip to the Mediterranean, we've got some new shirts.
Yeah.
This is one of them. That's not the newest one. We got Power, and Victory. So two old hymn type shirts. We got this one, Storyteller, and one that says I Tell Stories. Shane failed to wear the newest one.
I didn't fail to new. I failed to go pick it up.
Pick it up. Yeah. And it says, what does it say?
Salt and Balt, and I love that one.
And it's spelled the way that it is in the hymnal.
Mm-hmm. Bethany don't like it, but I like it. You said you didn't like it. I'm just being honest.
It looks like robot, Salt and Bot.
But it does look good.
It's a good looking shirt.
Man, I love it.
Y'all can check those out. You can go to the website, haydenalabamapodcast.com. Scroll down to the bottom, click on any of the rolling merchandise down at the bottom. They'll take you to the store. You can check it out there.
I'm going to just real quick. I love the storyteller because that's what we used to call people that were fibbing a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't when we made it, that's not really the way that I interpreted it.
I tell stories is double meaning.
Double meaning.
Because
are you telling a story? Because that's what we say in the
That is
in
a
the South.
kind way to say you're lying.
Yeah, you lying. You telling stories.
Yeah. So it's double meaning.
Yeah.
But we do tell stories. Some true, mostly true.
That one that you just heard was all true. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
Well, you have the evidence. It's hard to argue against the evidence there. I do like the Greek touch at the bottom because that's when I was in seminary taking Greek.
I figured that's exactly where it came from. That was a nice touch.
Yeah.
Even though she couldn't interpret it.
I was there for her.
You could help.
Yep.
Yeah, there for her.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
She
Yep.
translated a lot on that card.
It said many more words than were written. All right, let's go to my tolerance and try to gain back some credibility. When we first got married, we basically had a house guest all the time. So it was Bethany and I in our new home that we bought, and then your brother, Steve. He was there probably as much as I was there. And so what does that include? That includes a lot of suppers. And Bethany comes from a home of fine dining, fine cooking. Her mother is a fine cook. My family, fine cooks. That's what we're used to. She was going to do a little surprise. She was going to, give us a little something special that night. So she went and got some catfish fillets, and she was going to fry up a mess of catfish and French fries for Steve and I. I was excited. We had a little fry daddy. You know those? The little kind of like a pot, you just plug it into the wall and it gets the grease the perfect temperature. So she had that, and Steve and I were in there probably playing Xbox while she was cooking. And she was in there. The house was smelling delectable.
She was really working.
You could smell that fish. You could smell the grease. It was just, and so we were hungry. I was ready because this is the first time that she's ever cooked something like this. Well, she lets us know it's ready. We go in the kitchen. Table is set. I'm talking fine dining.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everybody's got a plate, forks, that big old mess of beautiful brown fried catfish.
Did you
right
catch
there
those
in the
fish?
middle. No. They were like southeastern meats,
yeah.
something like that. I didn't care.
No, it don't matter.
Well, that was the problem. They were frozen when I cooked them.
You got to learn somehow. But she does it, and they look perfect. Well, I get mine. We say the blessing. And I cut into that first piece, and it's thinner on the ends than it is in the middle. These are catfish fillets. That first bite, I told her, I said, baby, you have done this. Is good. Boy, you did it.
Yeah.
Well, that next bite headed towards the thickness of the fillet. Thinking, it's a little cooler, but it's still cooked. Mm-hmm. I get to the middle of that thing, and I bite into that one, and I bite, 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 and I swap it over to the other side and bite on it some more, swap it back, bite on it some more. I know I'm eating raw fish.
You ain't said a word.
I'm not saying a word because what I want is more of this. Not necessarily raw fish, but I want more of these type meals. Mm-hmm. The last thing I'm going to do is be unsympathetic. Mm-hmm. I power through it. And I go in, I get another one. I'm going to let her know I'm here for this. Mm-hmm. I get another one. Well, Steve is like us. He's got an appetite. Steve's an eater. He had stopped talking. He wasn't saying a word. He's just real quiet.
It's processing.
Eating a lot of French fries. And I noticed that he had only consumed the first bite. Mm-hmm. But he had taken that second bite. And he wasn't going back to that catfish. And Bethany's kind of excited. She's thinking, man, I have done a good job. Look at this. My husband's so happy. But she notices Steve's plate too. And she looks over at Steve and says, Steve, are you not hungry? He has watched my model. He knows that I know. Mm-hmm. So he wasn't going to be rude. And your brother is. He's reasonable with how he treats people.
Very couth.
Very, very. And he just says, after a long period of silence and delegation, Bethany, it's not cooked.
At least he was honest.
Well, you got to tiptoe a line there.
And she just, all that happiness and pride, you could just see it drying out of her face. She said, what do you mean it's not cooked? They said it's raw in the middle. Did you thaw them out before you fried them? And she said, no.
Not this time.
I didn't thaw them out.
But next time I will.
Absolutely.
And I'm telling you, that catfish was good that day. But my approach allowed me to continue to have catfish and catfish and catfish. So husbands, if your wife fouls one off, she strikes out, be careful.
Bethany, did he do a good job that time?
I don't remember. Truthfully, I don't even remember him and his take. So I guess he was pretty quiet. I just remember being mortified in front of your brother.
In front of Steve?
Well, because I had cooked for.
Well, yeah.
I mean, not that I didn't care that it wasn't cooked for you, but I mean, you're my husband. Like,
yeah, you ain't going nowhere.
Right. So, but Steve was just, over there just trying
He was just trying to live life, and you were trying
he was just over there trying to get his hair dyed, I'm sure.
Oh, that's a whole nother story.
He's just wiping his head with a sweatband.
Yeah.
So you remember Steve's response more than anything.
I do.
But you've cooked fish since then.
Oh, yeah.
So that next batch was on point.
It's on point. Every batch since been on point.
We have a wonderful story similar to that. If you tied that up well, Bethany, you through with that one?
Absolutely.
I mean,
it was raw. I cooked raw fish.
Sushi. People pay premium price for sushi.
$1 for sushi. Battered sushi. We had started having Bible study. No, we wouldn't. It wasn't Bible study. It was just a get together at the house. And Brother Johnny and Sister Nisi would come over. That was our pastor.
After revival one night.
Was it after revival one night? And Sarah had worked, cooked, and made some apple dumplings. Now, I love apple dumplings.
And I had made them
previously
a dozen times before. This was not the first time.
And what you would do is they're called Mountain Dew dumplings or something like that. You would take a literal can of Mountain Dew and you dump in a pan. You wrap green apples in
Crescent rolls, butter, sugar,
cinnamon.
You put it in the oven, set it and forget it. We had a fine meal, good meal. Sarah had cooked, I don't know, roast or something. We ate, and so the dumplings were cooking while we were eating. And the timer goes off. Sarah gets them out, and Brother Johnny is one of the first ones to get up and get him a dumpling. And he sits down, and he's over there steady, and I hear him crunching a little bit. And anybody knows anything about dumplings, they're supposed to be pretty tender and soft, and you just cut them with a fork and eat. And Sarah gets her a dumpling, I believe, and I had one, and she looks at me and she said, that just didn't cook all the way through. I said, it's fine. It really wasn't an issue because a raw apple's just crispy, right? And Sarah, in the homemaking attitude, or hey, just wanting everybody to be comfortable, makes this comment: the apples didn't get all the way done. Brother Johnny says, I ain't done it all. And I almost lost. When he allows that to proceed out of his mouth, he immediately wants to grab those words and bring them back. Like, that's not. I'm at someone else's house. I'm supposed to be very, very polite. I want to take those back, but it's like squirting toothpaste out of a tube. There's no putting it back in there.
Putting it back.
He realizes his mouth has now overrun his brain where he just did not mean to say. And he starts crawfish. You ever seen them crawfish start backing up? They start pedaling backwards. And he said, I like my apples crunchy. And from that day forward, we have never let him forget about the time that Sarah cooked the dumplings and had crunchy apples. So every time we get a chance, we'll say, I like my apples crunchy.
What was it that happened this past Wednesday?
I forget what.
His biscuits.
Oh, yes.
The biscuits he made, he said that they were a little more brown on the top and on the bottom. And I said, I like my biscuits brown, Brother Johnny.
Don't worry about it.
He didn't know what I was talking about, but
Man,
I know.
That was good.
But in Brother Johnny, now he will say this. He claims that after his open heart surgery, things changed within him that he had no control. Like his things that he would normally keep to himself, they just come out. And I don't know if that's true or not. I have no idea. Somebody maybe have had open heart surgery can state that it just changes your personality. And I don't know what it is or why, but it was 100% the truth. Some things that Brother Johnny would have never said before, now he says, and he'll say, look, I'm sorry about that.
Oh, that's one thing that hadn't changed though, is he doesn't forget anything. And if he thinks that there's an opportunity for you to have gotten your feelings hurt, he's going to call. He'll call and apologize about something, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about.
He probably apologized that for 10 or 15 times. Yeah. It's like, look, we understand. And it was really nothing harmful. It was just the timing.
Oh, yeah.
And it was so funny. I'll never forget that.
Let's stay in the food vein for just one more story, at least. We've always prided ourselves on being able to eat large quantities of food. Sports does that, and, a growing boy, all those things. And for a period of time, Bethany and I both worked the same shift at the hospital. So we were able to carpool together. We had worked our 3 12-hour shifts, and it was time for vacation. That's a good feeling when you get off work and vacation's next. So we get in the car. We're going to Disney World the next day. The kids are super excited. Everybody's excited. On the way home, she says, do you want to stop by Chick-fil-A? Get something to eat? Yeah, I want to do that. We're going through Chick-fil-A, and I noticed for about the last 5 minutes, she has been totally silent. Not a word being said. It's like, what did I say? I'm going to Chick-fil-A like you wanted. We're in the line waiting to order, and I've just had it. I knew something was wrong with her. Knew it. And I said, you're going to have to tell me what's wrong with you. I can't stand this. Just tell me what's wrong with you. Well, she starts crying. And I thought, my goodness, as much tolerance as I've built up in my wife, I mean, this is really, I can't think of anything that I've done. And then it hit me. Her brother, who is a cancer survivor, had a CT scan 2 to 3 days before.
It's bad news.
And I hadn't heard anything, any report on it. And, that's kind of when you have a disease like that, those moments are tough. Mm-hmm. You're always wanting to know, is that scan clear or not? Man, I was over there about to just start crying because I said, that's what it is. She has heard and she didn't want to tell me before work today. And I said, just tell me, clearly this is something. Yeah. She said, I'm pregnant.
And we're crying about it?
Yeah.
My heart rate goes from 60 to 120. We get to it's my turn to go forward. Mm-hmm. We got to order now.
Yeah. You're not hungry anymore?
I rolled down the window and I said, what would you like to eat? And she said, well, get me this, get this for the girls. I order what she says. Will that be all? Yes. I pull forward and she's kind of drying her eyes and she says, are you not going to order anything? I said, I've never been less hungry in my entire life. That's the only time that I know that I have gotten into a drive-through hungry as a hostage and ordered nothing and just was happy to go back home. And then we go to Disney World. The kids are having a good time. I'm having a good time. And then she can't even ride anything because she's with child.
She got Jenny along.
And she had held on to that for, I don't know, how many weeks had you known that at that time?
Not weeks. I think I just knew we were headed to Disney World. I knew I had to know before I went. Yeah, that was the smart thing to do. So I wouldn't get on. So I wouldn't get on the rides. And I thought,
and I got to tell him because this ain't gonna work.
Oh no, he's gonna know. Like he's gonna know when I spend all this money and don't get on a single ride.
Yep.
So
that was it. That's one time I could remember not being hungry and immediately not.
Love that story. I took Sarah to a drive-through one time when she was pregnant.
No, you did. You think you're tolerant.
Tell it, Sarah.
Oh, no, I'm going to let Shane tell this one.
No, tell it correctly because obviously I can't remember.
And don't interrupt her. Let her tell her story.
We had, I don't even remember what the project was. We had gone to Lowe's for something. He just probably needed materials for work. I'm riding along. So we did go through the drive-through. I was considerably pregnant with one of the children, and we had been running some errands, and Shane was hungry, so he pulled into Arby's.
We got the meats.
Well, that's what he asked for in the drive-through for himself. Mm-hmm. And the little girl said, anything else? So as I lean over the console, he says, that's it. And pulls around. And I just didn't say a word. Back in my seat. I'm going to be quiet. And he gets there, does not even register to him that he has not only not fed me, but our unborn child until he pulls out and we are on the road headed home. And he said, baby, did you not want anything to eat?
Golly, man. Did he ask you that after he got you to hand him his roast beef sandwich out of the bag?
Will you give me that roast beef sandwich?
Now I'm kind of hungry if you give me that sandwich.
I mean, for real, we're on the road and he's pulling fries out of the bag and he said, baby, did you not want anything to eat? I did.
I wanted to know what was taking her so long to get my food ready. I mean, I was hungry. I didn't know why she kept staring at me.
I told him it was fine.
Oh, yeah. I'm fine. That was it. I went,
Oh.
Were you hungry? I asked that. Were you hungry? Why didn't you say anything?
You were too busy saying, "No, that's all I need."
I mean, like, did not look over at me.
Because I got in there, ordered me a big beef and cheddar and with sesame seed bun. I don't like the onions. I don't like the what do they put that? What kind of onions they put on there?
I love that, the onion bun.
Yeah, but what do they? French onion. I don't like those. I want a sesame seed bun. As a matter of fact, make it 2 of them, large fry. Give me a Coca-Cola. I'm out of here. We got work to do. She didn't say nothing. She just sat back. Girl ain't hungry. She must not be hungry.
No, I tried.
You and your child were hungry,
Mm-hmm.
but y'all are fine.
Yeah.
Everything turned out just fine.
I'd like to say I'm surprised, but I'm not.
No, because it would be surprising maybe if that was the first time it had happened, or the only time it had happened.
If Sarah and I are going to fight, it's going to be over food. I want y'all to know this is a confession. We have never fought over anything other than whether I have eaten some sort of takeout or delivery, or if I went to a conference and I had steak or shrimp or something, and she had to have a bowl of ramen at home. That is the only time we've ever fought. It will happen.
And we don't fight. Shane doesn't understand how, so he gets to, at work, he gets to do all these different things and go to these different places and eat out at these really expensive restaurants
I'm providing for our family
that someone else is paying for. And then he comes home and he wants to have ham sandwiches. Well, I had ham sandwiches for the last 2 weeks while you were out hunting in North Dakota. So if we could just maybe go to Top Hat, that'd be great.
Did I show you the pictures from Tin Top that we had?
No, but I've already heard about Tin Top.
What is Tin Top?
I'll show you what he,
Oh, Bethany's not even heard
I'll show you
about
what
it.
he ate after the show.
It's a restaurant. It's real good. It's down at the beach. They went together.
Of course.
I
course,
thought about
while
you.
we were
I
eating
thought
it.
about you the whole time I was
It's
eating.
pretty
this.
good.
Rearing children.
Bethany, did I share with you about the oysters before or after?
After.
I ate 'em.
Yeah, after.
After.
I heard the earful too.
Yeah. But we did determine something. It's not raw oysters that make me sick. It's fried oysters. So as long as they're not fried, I'm back in the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you held them down. But you did get an earful.
Yeah. Well, she thought I was going to ruin the whole.
You're going to ruin
the
it.
main reason we went
Don't
down there.
come crying to me when you're sick.
Yeah.
I heard it. I told you.
We powered through though, man. Had a great night.
We did.
Bethany, you had another one you wanted to share with everybody.
Talking about the beach. So Philip likes to run. I do not. But anyways, down at the beach, there used to be this store. I think it was called maybe the Track Shack or something like that. And they were supposed to be having this really big sale while we were down there one time. And so we go into the store and he finds him a plethora of running shorts. Have you ever been shopping with Phil? He doesn't try anything on. It's just, it's going to be fine. We'll get it back to the house. So he's got 3 pair of shorts. I don't know. Comes back to the house. What is he going to do? He's going to put a pair on and go for a
I can't believe
jaunt.
you didn't wear any out the store.
No. So we're all sitting out on the back porch, just enjoying the view. And he comes out in a pair of these shorts. There wasn't much to these shorts. Split clean up the side. And maybe a 3-inch hem, maybe. Like, our daughters would not be allowed out of the house, and they play volleyball. Like, they do sports in these. It was worse than that.
You got to watch them 3-inch hams.
He comes out, and we are speechless. And he says, "What do y'all think about these?" They are highly inappropriate, and you should not run down the road with those. You should not run anywhere with those except for to the trash can.
Back to the Track Shack and return those.
Oh, he already took the tag off. That would have been too smart.
Oh, man, Phil.
To this day, actually, this week at some point, he comes out of the bathroom.
Wearing the Track Shack shorts
Absolutely.
with the 3-inch hem.
Bright red, very Forrest Gumpish.
Mm-hmm.
He still wears them. The children are mortified when he comes out in these.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I am mortified, and I've never seen them.
Well,
I think we need a picture.
We can't wear them when we got guests at the house.
oh gosh. No,
If it had been a 4-inch hem, we might could get away with it.
I don't know. It is it's very white and
There's a lot going on. There's so little material.
very leggy.
But I tell you what, man, never a freer run.
I don't know how he manages to run in them.
Oh, you
Like,
do run in them.
No,
No, I won't let
no.
him. I mean, not that I won't let him out of the house in them, but I think for everybody, it's probably better that those stay inside.
And I mean, it's not like these are from some sort of weird shop or anything. I mean, those marathon runners that you see that are really good, that's what they wear. I mean, it ain't much.
You're aspiring.
Yeah. Yeah.
Channeling your inner.
You got to
inner
dress the part.
Yep.
If you're going to do it.
Absolutely.
Over the course of a marriage, you're going to have some things happen that really test you, test how you respond and different things. Within the first year of our marriage, one of the things that I did a lot because I love to play Call of Duty Modern Warfare is I would spend a lot of time playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Headphones, controller, had my chair, TV set up just like I liked it. It was perfect. Well, Bethany was going to go somewhere one day. She was going to go shopping, go meet her mom, whatever it was. And she gets ready. And before she leaves, because she's got to step all over my cords to get out of the bedroom to go to the garage, she says, I'm gone. Well, I'll see you later. I said, all right. Well, we had a main level 3-2 with a full basement, 2-car garage down there. I'm sitting there playing, headphones on. I'm saving the world one game at a time. And I keep those headphones loud. I mean, just because
so you hear the footsteps.
The whole thing. And over the gunshots, the grenades, and all the sounds of the game, I hear boom. And I mean, I felt it. And I thought, what has happened in our home? Well, I take the headset off, throw the controller down, go down the steps into the garage, and I see a white garage door with a black Honda going through it. She has somehow not opened the garage door, yet did everything else that you need to do to back out of a garage. And she doesn't know what to say. You can tell she's embarrassed, all the things at one time. And I at that moment, you're at a crossroads. This is a marriage crossroads.
You're at a crossroads. For
What
sure.
are you going to say? Mm-hmm. Because you can get mad and you can
let's let her know just exactly
give all
how
those
she could,
unsympathies
mm-hmm.
at one time.
You should
or
have paid attention.
you can realize that there's nothing you can do at
Just
this
a
point,
garage door.
except for ask her to put it in drive and pull back forward so that we can.
What did you choose?
I chose the latter. I didn't go crazy. I may have had something come out of disbelief, a statement of disbelief maybe. Thankfully, those garage doors are very malleable.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to push it back and kind of reform the garage door to its original state and got it to where it would open and close. She went shopping. Marriage stayed intact.
No harm, no foul.
And I went back up and got back in the game.
Bethany.
Do you remember that differently?
You don't want to talk about it. This for everybody that's listening, this is the first time this has been talked about in 15 plus years, right?
18 years.
So since it happened.
Mm-hmm.
And the way Philip understands it and remembers it is just as we've heard it. And I mean, it's
How did
believable.
I respond? How did I respond?
How did you respond?
Yeah. Did I do good as a
young husband?
Young husband?
No. But I mean,
Is it important to talk about how we responded? Or
no,
you don't
it's
think so?
important to know that Philip has grown substantially in our 19 years of marriage to what he just talked about.
In his own mind, or like literally? You
No,
believe he
literally,
has?
he has.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy Spirit.
Thank the Lord. This is sanctification.
Process of sanctification.
And
So wives, if you're out there and you have a young husband,
there's hope.
it's possible for them
There's
to not
hope.
be a donkey
Yeah, all the time.
over the next 20 years.
They'll have a donkey's gonna have a donkey time from
You're
time
going to have a
time.
day.
You're gonna have a day. I had a day.
It was a day.
My wife is.
She's a saint.
she is
We
a
talked
saint
about
of-
it.
Saint of a woman.
True.
Tolerant at the highest level.
Yes. And a wonderful help on the job site. And from time to time, I get in a bind. I mean, I'm in a bind. I don't have any other option. And my go-to is, Sarah Elizabeth, will you just help me? Can you help me today? And she's never told me no, unless it was nail day or something
That's
like
not
that.
true. That's not true. I only get to get my nails done because he goes to work. So if he needs help,
So she helps me. She does. I was just kidding there. 9 months pregnant with our second child. I've got a job in Alex City. That's a ways from here. Y'all spend a little time in Alex
We're
City.
down there.
And I knew I could not. There was no way I was finishing it by myself. I had to dig piers and pour concrete, and we had our 2-year-old,
he was
3-year-old,
Mm-hmm.
3-year-old son as well, and he had to go with us. We get there, a long drive down. It's a warm day. It's August.
It's August.
It's
Middle of
August.
August.
It had been raining. It was muddy. All the things. Humidity. We're in the boonies, south of Alex City, which is, you're just in the middle of nowhere. You're not close to anything. We do the work. We get everything done. Halfway through the job, as far as getting ready for the concrete, halfway through the job, my child has been exploring the premises, and there's this rooster that stayed kind of down on the lower end of the property. I look up. I'm not concerned. He's just a typical 3-year-old country boy. He's gonna get out there. He's gonna
Mix
be
it
everything. Mix it up. Well, he gets closer and closer to the rooster, and in my mind, this is what Shane Thomas does as a father: is you're gonna learn today. You won't do it but one time. And I look and I said, he's gonna go down there, and him and the rooster are gonna have a fight. They're gonna figure out who's the baddest, and it'll be one time and we're done. He goes down there and he squares up with the rooster. Rooster comes at him. He sees it and he recognizes, I ain't the man today. I don't want this today. So he immediately starts backpedaling. He's hollering for mama. Mama! She sees it, and before I can stop the interaction, she's barreling down the hill, 9 months pregnant, to get her sweet little baby child away from this rooster.
Rooster was as big as he was.
Did you misstep?
No.
You didn't fall,
No.
right? Didn't fall,
This
but
time.
she was in a dead sprint. Bethany has stated earlier, I agree. Sarah also agrees. We do not run.
No.
Not runners.
If
we're
something's
running,
wrong.
there's a problem. So she runs 9 months pregnant. First time she's ran all of her pregnancy and gets to the child, saves the day. He picks him up. He's got a couple little scratches on his legs. No problem. Well, she comes back up and she's out of breath because she's walked back up the hill after the sprint. And
Time out. You didn't go after your 9-month-old or 9-month pregnant wife? You were just watching.
I
This
was
is just sheer
spectating.
entertainment for you.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Well, because you have to make an assessment. Is there real danger here? The rooster is not of a real threat. It was not a wolf or a predator of some sort. It was a rooster. And the worst he's going to do is get a few scratches, which he learned something that day. And we go through the rest of the day, and it is hot. We've not eaten. We've not stopped. We've worked. And this little lady here, when it's time to go, she'll work. Won't she? She'll do it. And she did. And I didn't complain. And we had to go back home 2.5 hours, and she'd been checking her blood pressure.
I had just been to the doctor the day before.
And they said you might want to monitor that. So she had a blood pressure cuff with her. She said, I think I need to check my blood pressure. I said, I'll be fine. Probably do. So, we ain't got time to stop, though. We got to go. She's like, I'm a little hungry. I said, I'm pulling this machine, trailer, truck. We're going to the house. She checks her blood pressure, and it is elevated, to say the least. And she calls the doctor. And she says, I just want you to know what my blood pressure is. This is what's going on. And he says, you got to get here right now.
I have historically low blood pressure, so it was
elevated.
Substantial.
It was big difference.
Huge difference.
He said, you coming in right now. Well, we pulling in. I said, all right, we stroll up into St. Vincent's. That's fine. We'll get there. So we kind of change course, and we're going into St. Vincent's. I'm pulling this truck and trailer. I'll roll up in there. And if you've ever been to St. Vincent's, the only way to the OBGYN or the women's center is you got to kind of go up into this parking deck.
This little hairpin.
And I mean, I couldn't stop and get her nothing to eat, much less pull into this hospital with this truck and trailer. But I get up there as close as I can. It's probably 10:30.
It's every bit of 10:30. Mm-hmm.
And she is steady telling me how hungry she is. Baby, I can't do nothing about it. I'm sorry. We'll get you something to eat here in a little bit. They probably got a snack or two in there. I pull up, and there's this BMW come flying up behind me, and he's flashing his lights. And I was like, there's times when you got patience, but I didn't have. The patience were gone. My 3-year-old, he was hungry. My wife, 9-month pregnant, hungry, and I'm trying to get her to the emergency room so they can check her out so we can get this show back on the road. He's steady, just honking the horn, blowing, and he's yelling out the window. And I throwed her in park. I get out and I said, "What's your problem?" "I'm gonna call the police." And I said, "I wish you would, because that'd be the best thing you could do right now is get the police down here for something else. Because I'm about headed up to here, and I don't get here very often, but I'm there." And he knew. He said, "This guy's probably pretty serious. There's something more going on." And he decided to back out and go the other direction, which is great. I said, "Crisis averted. We did not have to fight here in the hospital. Let's get you out in there." So I said, "Here's you going in there, see the doctor." So she gets out by herself because I've got to stay with Cubby. She goes on up there. She calls me and says, "They're keeping me, and we're going to have a child tomorrow
in the morning.
Which means, Shane, that I don't get to eat tonight.
So, no, not only that. It's 2020, so y'all know what occurred. Yeah. We cannot bring Covey in.
I can't go in.
Like we can't do any of that. Covey has to get back home. It's 10:30. Shane's got his truck and trailer. That's a short list of people to call to say, "Hey, bring me a vehicle. Also come get this one."
Nobody.
I mean, I
had nobody that I could call.
I mean, well, he could have called his daddy, but
he had to work.
Well, right. There were a lot of things. That was the list.
So I go home and I start packing because we didn't even have a backpack. Normally you're supposed to pack and have a backpack. I just start throwing stuff in there. I'm like, "Yeah, you'll need that."
I called him and I said, "Honey, they're keeping me. She's upside down. So this is what we're going to have to do tomorrow. You're going to have to pack a bag." I had her bag ready. "Well, what do you want?" He's asking questions. And I said, "You just have to make some decisions."
And I did.
Indeed.
I packed some things.
He took a shower.
I ate.
He got him something to eat.
Had Arby's.
Yeah. I had Arby's.
I mean,
And she's in the emergency room.
covered in concrete.
Covered in concrete, starving to death. She powered through, and I would not replace her to this day. Would not replace her. Had
She's
that baby.
earned her spot.
She's a Thomas, and you mine from now on. You hear me?
Oh, good. We're
We ain't
15 years
We ain't going nowhere.
into this thing. It's good to hear that.
Man.
You made it.
I'm going to tell you about one time that I didn't know if we were going to make it, and then we'll move on. Bethy and I worked opposite shifts. I would work, at that time I was working my shifts and she'd keep the kids, and then she'd work her shifts and I would keep them 12-hour shifts. And it was wintertime, and I was at work one day and I got this phone call, which was rare, very rare to get that while I'm at work. And Bethany's just distraught. She's in tears. And I'm thinking immediately, something happened to one of the kids. That's where I don't know, as a parent, that's where your mind goes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's the story that I get when I said what happened. And she said, well, it's wintertime. I had to go outside and get something. And when I went out, our oldest daughter followed her and closed the door behind her. We had a doorknob on that 9-frame glass door that you could open it from the inside, whether it was locked or unlocked. But from the outside, it would be locked. The only way that you knew that door was locked is by the position of the little locking mechanism. Well, my oldest daughter was just a toddler, young at that time. And she follows Bethany out, closes the door. Bethany has no shoes on. She's in her pajamas. It's wintertime. There's Madeline out there with her. And my mom is not at home. Her cell phone is in the house. She has no way to communicate. She has no way to get back in the house. The cold is obviously influencing every decision at this time.
Fight or flight.
I think it's safe to say there are no neighbors.
Yeah, we're out there by
we
ourselves.
were secluded.
This was when you were in South Alabama.
No. This was just over here when we lived at mom's for a while.
This would have been a hike with no shoes and a baby on the hip situation in 20-degree weather.
She has to make a decision.
And that's not the one I wanted to make.
How do I get back in this house? One of the things that I do, and if you've listened to the show, you've probably picked up on this, is I'm a pyro. Man, I love a good fire. And we had one of those raised metal fire pits on the back patio that I would burn wood in. And I had a nice, heavy iron poker that I would stoke the fire with or whatever. Well, as Bethany is deteriorating mentally from the cold and being heavily influenced, her feet are sending signals up, and that sweet baby's sitting there shaking. She could think of one way to get back in that house.
She saw it on a movie one time.
She would take that iron poker and just smash that back glass in, reach in, unlock the door. Crisis averted.
But just one pane, one little square. Right.
So that's what she did.
Reared back.
Just ruined the back door and then calls me. I had a hard time in that moment having any sympathy for cold feet, for children, for the hungry in the world. I was livid.
He was Mr. Sympathetic at that moment, wasn't he?
I thought it was a phenomenal decision in the heat of the moment.
That's where I realized we were on two different pages with this decision. She called me she was still upset, but with a sense of
Pride.
I
just needed to know where a tarp was.
Yeah, I just need to know so I can cover this hole in the door.
Right.
It's no problem.
That's right.
It's not a big deal.
I didn't know that it was one solid sheet of glass and that all of it was going to shatter.
Yeah. So when you hit that number 9 hole,
boom.
1 through 7 and 8
Absolutely.
came on down too.
Yeah.
Sure
She
did.
hit 1 of 9 and conquered 9 of 9.
See, I would not have even called for the tarp. I'm taking my happy self down to Dollar General and I'm going to buy a tarp and he can figure it out when he gets home.
So what ended up happening is we worked through that. I shared some different tactics that maybe she could use next time.
What were anything?
Yeah,
Did you have
please
any
elaborate.
other?
What were the different tactics?
Pick that baby up
Going over to
and
Mama's.
go over to Mama's house.
Let's go to Mama's.
Take a
Mama wasn't home. No one was home. We were dying out there.
It was
So-
life or death.
Well, that's the decision she made. We got a new door. We stayed married. We do not have a
Fire
handle that seems unlocked from the inside,
Mhm.
that is locked from the outside.
And you keep the fire poker at.
We hide it every time after I start a fire.
Yeah,
She
'cause
no longer has access to the fire poker or bricks.
The way she swung it and hit that door, that might do some damage.
That was a
Right.
test that day. But I'm going to tell you what. So the big takeaway, guys and gals, we're different.
Our
We
thought
make different-
process in her.
We make different decisions.
Absolutely 100% different. If you've not learned that in this little span of time that you spent with us this evening, then you're going to have a long row ahead of you.
But you can make it. You get to that decision faster.
Hang on. One more. I may have hurt the door, but let's talk about whenever you were really sick that one time. And anybody who knows Philip knows that he has well, you may not know this. Guess what? He has a small fetish with a hairdryer. He likes to blow dry his sheets. He likes to blow dry.
He do be getting cold.
He likes to blow dry his body.
I'm cold natured.
In the middle of the night, sometimes the blow dryer will just come on and the sheets will get real warm. So he was really, really sick and had a really high fever. So he was in the bedroom, curled up with that hair dryer, because when you got a fever, you're shaking, you got the chills.
He's doing the best he can.
He was. But I knew it was not a good idea because I could see him.
Well, it has
waning.
a warning label.
Yes.
on
Did
it.
you warn him?
I hid the hair dryer. I took it from him.
So you had
because-
some forethought.
Absolutely, I did. However, I did not think that he was in the state of mind that would have gone
Search it
and
out.
sought the hair dryer out after I left the room.
Like that new shirt we got, salt and ball, baby. He's
Yep.
going to go get it.
So I'm in the living room and I hear
Sweet, sweet sound.
he found it. He found it. I'm just going to let him get warm for a little while. I don't know, minutes go by.
You get preoccupied. You're
Get
doing something
preoccupied.
else.
We've got
Three
three
Hallmark
kids.
movies later.
Maybe.
Cody, thank you.
The hair dryer is still on. And I smell something burning.
Fabric.
So I approach the room and I open the door and it hits me in the face. Something is catching on fire. He has burnt a hole through the sheets, through the mattress protector, into the actual mattress. Happy as a lark in there, sound asleep, has no clue. He about killed us all.
He's actually dreaming about the Mediterranean Sea.
Yeah, for real.
It's nice and warm.
So at that point, the hairdryer went away. And he now has like this bear hugger thing that's actually for heating the sheets and heating the bed.
Let me give you the other perspective. I don't know that I've been that cold before.
Ever.
Ever.
Bethany has.
What I had
Yeah, with a child.
right.
what I had done is I had taken all the sheets, put them, completely covered my head and everything, like tucked the sheets behind my head. So I'm in a cave, this warm, heavenly cave in my sick state of mind. And the problem occurred when I finally got warm. The moment I got warm, I went into REM sleep.
Drifted off to La La Land.
And I am out. And I wake up. She doesn't share this part. I don't think she didn't want to look bad. I was so sick. And she took those sheets. This is what I woke up to. Violently ripped them off of my whole body. Like, she didn't just take them back enough to see if there was a problem. Those sheets went from being up here on my head to down in the floor all at once.
All that cold air
And it's
come rushing
just
in,
giving me, just telling me everything that she thinks about me and my
I
intelligence.
panicked. I thought I was going to find a crispy man.
Yeah,
And
but that was what you were doing it because, oh my God, my son, my husband is
Maybe, and I was a little perturbed that he actually sought out that hairdryer after I told him.
I was sick.
and he found it.
I was sick.
I hid
Can
it.
I ask where you found it? At?
Absolutely. I hid it in the closet up under some clothes. I mean, I hid it.
And Philip, you said, I'm gonna find this.
I'm getting it. I was so cold. I knew it would instantly help me.
And you knew better than to ask Bethany for any help.
No. She didn't want what I had, so she was doing everything to stay away. Right, and I'm not mad about that. I don't like getting sick either, but we made it through, and we still have.
And the house didn't burn down.
The house didn't burn down, but we still have those sheets. And every time I see that burnt hole, I think about my beautiful bride and all the sympathy she showed me in my time of dire need.
She kept.
I kept you alive. You're welcome.
Yeah.
I needed Jesus that day, and we need Jesus every day. Let's go to God's word here. Matthew chapter 5, verse 8. God blesses those whose hearts are pure, for they will see God. The verse begs a couple of questions. One, what is a pure heart? Number two, how do you get a pure heart if you want to see God? And that's something that I want to see. I want to see God now. I want to see God forever in heaven. Well, what Jesus is not saying is that you need to do, if you have this moral aptitude, you're constantly seeking to do good things for people, that's how you're going to have a pure heart. That's not what he's saying. Those are good. We should do those things. But the Bible tells us in Jeremiah, what does that say? What does it say about the heart?
That the heart is ever deceitful.
Absolutely. And then another thing is when Jesus was asked, or when he was called the good, I forget the exact word, the good master, good teacher, he said, none is good except God. Mm-hmm. So there's the standard. If you're thinking, well, I'm not a good person or I have a hard time being good, well, guess what? You're in luck. Because the only way that you can have a pure heart is by believing in Jesus Christ and him giving you his righteousness, him putting a new heart in you. Mm-hmm. So that's the first thing, is the pure heart is the one that Jesus gives you. Right. But that does not, let's be careful. You may say, well, I can just get saved and believe in Jesus and I'll have that covered. Yes, you will have a good heart. Yes, you will be saved. But that is when you should seek to daily, through the power of the Holy Spirit, have a good heart. And that good heart should manifest in every aspect of our lives. I think that we can see God now in his word. I think that we can see God now in our lives. I think we can see God now in other people's lives. We can see God in the good times and the bad times. I think he's ever present. The Bible tells us that. He's everywhere all the time. Omnipresent is kind of the big fancy word for that. So if you're not a believer, let's start there. You're not a believer. You can't have a pure heart. If you're trying to do works, you're trying to be morally, you can't. You have to get it from Jesus Christ. Yeah. And that begins, like we talked about a couple of weeks ago, maybe last week, believe and confess Jesus is Lord. And it says, you shall be saved. So that's how you do that. But now let's talk about those that are saved, and maybe you're not seeing God in your life, in his word. And it's like, well, what are the decisions you're making? Mm-hmm. If you are not pursuing him, you're not seeking to follow Jesus Christ, therefore you're in this place and you're in this area where God is not going to be, where you're not positioning yourself to see God. If you're not reading his word regularly, I encourage that to be something you do every day, you're not going to see God in his word because you're never in his word to see him. But that pure heart that Jesus has given you, seek to utilize it and grow in your process of sanctification. And Jesus says, he promises, you will see God.
Yeah. I think you got to protect that heart. You know, when you think about after you've been saved, you can really influence that pure heart that Christ has put into you with the things of the world. That's why we have to, when we talk about repentance, that's why we're turning away from that.
Mm-hmm.
Because without that repentance, without turning away, what we've done is now we've started to defile that pure heart that God's put into us in our minds, and we'll fall back into sin if we're not very careful. And it's very important to protect that heart and protect our children's hearts and minds. We've talked about that before, how important it is as those of us who have been saved, or those of us that do know Christ, is to protect your children as long as you can protect them. Because once you learn something, you cannot unlearn it. And once your children learn something, it's very difficult for them to unlearn it. So I don't mind, and you may not agree with this, but I don't mind my child learning about things. What I do, though, is I care is how they learn them. But they learn a lot of stuff I remember I learned a lot of stuff on my own, and I probably shouldn't have learned some of those things. But if you control that learning, it really helps to protect their heart, and how important that is to do that as adults that maybe are seeking to carry on or pass that on to our children about how important it is to have a pure heart.
You know what else a pure heart will help? Your marriage.
We're praying for y'all.
That's funny. I was going to say that particular verse is one that I remember writing to Shane before we got married. That was something that I thought of him. So anyway, thanks for that vote of confidence.
Amen.
So that's why I didn't need the prayer. You know, I already had that. I already got it going now.
We gave him a chance. We gave him the microphone and let him unleash some of that stuff. I hope this has been helpful for you guys. It's just a little more insight into
who we are,
where
we came from,
what we have to put up with.
Amen. I think maybe they'll come back. Maybe they'll see it wasn't so bad. And well, we'll let y'all leave a comment. Should the wives come back for round 2 or not? We'll leave it up to the audience. Well, we're going to go let them put up with a little bit more. That's going to do it this evening at the Hayden Alabama Podcast. I'm Philip.
I'm Shane.
I'm Bethany.
And I'm Sarah.
We'll see you next time.